I hate that word pitch. It sounds, pitchmen in the old days were just phony baloney salesmen. I only go to a network and talk about a project. And in this particular case, I showed it to my agent, who had been my agent for some 18 years at that point. And he read my presentation, and he said, Sherwood, you're out of your fucking mind. Who the hell is going to watch the same goddamn 7 people on the same goddamn island every week? I said, you mean you don't like it? He said, it's impossible. I said, okay, no problem. And then he said something really terrible. He said, but if you want me to try to sell it. I said, George. Rosie, George Rosenberg was his name. Everybody called him Rosie. I said, the last thing in the world I want is an agent who thinks I'm crazy to go in and try to sell my product, which he thinks is ridiculous. So thank you. You've been a good agent, and that's fine. There was another agent who'd been trying for years to get me to go over, and he wanted to represent me. And his name was Perry Leff. He was with CMA, which became ICM. I don't know what it's now. Maybe it's still ICM. So I said, Perry, I want to come up and talk to you about something. And he said, fine. So I gave him the presentation. Incidentally, because I knew it would be a problem to sell an idea that seemed so limited, I had written 31 stories for potential episodes, just in 2-sentence, 3-sentence form. I recall exactly now. I had an office away from my home in those years, and I had gotten some butcher paper, that white paper, sheets of it, and I had circled my whole office with this. I don't know why, I just did this. And I just started at one end, and I just, with a big black felt pen, and I just wrote these different things. It came out to be 31 stories. And I rolled it up, and I took that. I took that to George Rosenberg to begin with. And he didn't want to see it. In fact, he told me what I could do with it. So the next day, when I went to see Perry, and I said, I have these stories and all. And he thought the same thing as George Rosenberg, but he approached it very differently. He said, Sherwood, do you really think you can keep an audience with stories about the same 7 people on that same island? He said, it seems very, very restricted to me. I said, Perry, I've spent weeks just trying to decide on the name Gilligan, much less. I did. I went through dozens of phone books looking for just the right name. I'm pretty crazy when it comes to what I'm doing. And I can't tell you why that name struck me. But I like hard letters, like, G is a hard letter. And I wanted a name that, you could call it Jones Island, and it'll be nothing. And you could call it like Cadiddlehopper's Island, and it'll be ridiculous. So I wanted a name that connoted amusement. It would be amusing or funny, you would immediately think, but not ridiculous. So I settled on that name. Anyway, so I had said I had written all these things, and he read all the stories. And he said, well, let me make a phone call. Those days, phone calls were a dime. He made one phone call to CBS, and the next week it was sold. Well, Jim Aubrey was the head of CBS programming, and his counterpart on the West Coast was Hunt Stromberg. Hunt Stromberg Jr., his dad was Hunt Stromberg. And I went in for meetings with Hunt after he had heard the idea, which appealed to him. And then I got into a long, protracted battle with James T. Aubrey, who insisted that he couldn't buy the show because it would take too much explanation every week. Why were these 7 people stuck on this island? Who are they and all this stuff? And I used to say to him, Jim, that's not a problem. I will have a song written which is entertaining and which tells why they're there and who they are and all that stuff. So when you start page 1 of each episode, you're into story immediately because the audience is aware of it. Well, that was not improperly used then, the idea of using a theme song story before the show.